Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today, playing a little bit of Simic Merfolk in Historic Best of 3. In the mood for some tribal stuff this week, I think. Before I get into the deck list and talk a little bit about it, the usual YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe if you can. Thank you very much for doing that, and information about the deck list as well as timestamps are in the description, as always. So in this deck, these four creatures are probably going to be your best threats. We have four Merfolk Mistbinders, a 2/2 for 2 in Simic colors. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+1, your typical Lord. Next, we are playing four Marrow Regery, a 2/2 for 3, same thing. Other Merfolk creatures you control get +1/+1. And then it has an additional ability that says whenever you play a Merfolk, meaning cast a Merfolk spell, you may tap or untap target permanent. Tons of things you can do with this because it says target permanent. That means you can tap or untap lands, you can tap or untap creatures, your opponent's creatures. Play around with it. Lots of stuff to do with the Regery. Do note though, if you play a Collected Company and you hit one or two Merfolk off the Collected Company, they do not trigger the second ability of the Regery. Next, we are playing two Kumina, a 2/4 for 3. It is not a typical Lord, however, it has a ton of synergy with Merfolk, and it's on its own a Lord of a sort. Its first ability says tap another untapped Merfolk you control. Kumina can't be blocked this turn. Great for getting a little bit of damage here and there. Next, tap 3 untapped Merfolk you control. You can draw a card. Who doesn't like drawing cards? And then tap 5 untapped Merfolk you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on each Merfolk you control. That last ability, a little bit hard to pull off because you need so many creatures on the board, but if you're in a board state stall, that's something that can really push the game into your favor. And then we are playing 4 Glasspool Mimics, the only non-Merfolk in the main board of this deck. However, most of the time it's going to be copying a Mistbinder or a Regery, so it's kind of like an honorary Lord. Next, we have the other Merfolk in the deck, playing 4 Kumina Speaker. This is the only 1 CMC creature in the deck. It is a 1/1. However, if you control an island or another Merfolk, it's going to get +1/+1. So most of the time, it's going to be a 2/2 for 1. Next, 4 Merfolk Tricksters, one of the most powerful non-lords in the deck. It is a 2/2 for 2 blue. It has flash, and when it enters the battlefield, it says tap target creature an opponent controls. It loses all abilities until the end of turn. This is a really good card to keep in your hand, just for that ideal moment when you need to flash it in to maybe stop an attacker, to put down a blocker, all kinds of stuff that you can do with the Trickster. Next, 4 Brineborn Cutthroats, a 2/1 for 2. It has flash as well, so really good to put out at the end of your opponent's turn. Now, it also has another ability that says whenever you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Brineborn Cutthroat. There are certainly things in the deck that can trigger this, for example, Merfolk Tricksters or maybe Collected Companies. However, I found in my testing I wasn't putting a ton of +1/+1 counters on the Cutthroat. Still, I think it is a pretty good option as a 2/2 with flash for 2, considering we don't have a ton of great Merfolk options in Historic. And then finally 2 River Sneak, a 1/1 for 2. This one can't be blocked. However, it also has another ability that says whenever another Merfolk enters the battlefield under your control, River Sneak gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. This card works really well with Collected Company. If you can put it out, maybe you play Collected Company on your first main phase or during combat, you hit a Lord or 2 Lords, well, it's going to give +2, +3, +4 potentially to the River Sneak that turn when it's attacking, and it can get in for a ton of damage. However, it is pretty weak overall, and if you're not hitting other creatures, it can be pretty terrible. You know, getting in for 1 for a 2/2, not the greatest thing, so only playing 2 of them in the deck. And then the last Merfolk in the deck gets a special mention, 4 Silvergill Adepts. It is a 2/1 for 2. This one says when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. This is one of your main sources of draw in the deck outside of Kumina. It does have an additional tax on it that says as an additional cost to cast Silvergill Adept, reveal a Merfolk card from your hand or pay 3. So you want to always make sure that you're putting out the Adept when you can, holding back another Merfolk so that you can reveal it. You don't really want to be paying 5 for the Adept. Also note that if you hit the Adept off a Collected Company, you don't have to pay that additional 3 CMC tax. And if you copy the Silvergill Adept, you also don't have to pay the 3 CMC. Next, the last cards in the deck, 4 Dive Downs, just a little bit of protection, and then the aforementioned 4 Collected Companies. Of course, we're playing Collected Companies. Next, in the sideboard, we have a huge anti-control package here. We're playing 2 Mystical Disputes, 2 Negates, 2 Spell Pierce, and 3 Test of Talons. Bring these in against opponents that are playing heavy spot removal and board wipes, I found they worked pretty well most of the time, and I liked having them in the sideboard. And to round out the rest of the sideboard, playing 2 Relic of Progenitus, a little bit of Graveyard Hate. I'm mostly playing this specific card because I want to play a little bit more with Relic of Progenitus, see how it performs. But if you want to play any other flavor of Artifact Graveyard Hate, go ahead and do that. Also, 2 Heroic Interventions, great little way to protect a wide board from a board wipe, for example. And then 2 Brazen Borrower. Petty Theft is a wonderful card to have in your sideboard, just in case you need to bounce vital targets. And then it also acts as a 3/1 flash flying threat that is not a Merfolk, but a pretty big threat that your opponents are going to have to deal with all on its own. And that is Simic Merfolk. Gonna jump into some games and see how well it performs. See you over there. All right. Time for some Simic Merfolk in Historic. Best of 3. Oh boy. I think it's going to go incredibly well. Yeah, opening hand looks alright. Hopefully we find a few more lands. I think that'll help quite a bit. But this is good early aggression. All depending on what the opponent's on. We know they have a Luris, and that's about it. Alright, lead on the Kumena Speaker next turn. Well, we'll see. I got a lot of choices for next turn. So they are on Azorius. Probably Azorius Auras is what this is. I think I am okay just attacking like this. They'll take 2. And then I'll flash in the Cutthroat on their end step. I really hope to find a land. Okay. Could kill this. It's pass. I hate the thing to pass blockers. I was thinking I could kill the Selfless Savior. Probably would have been a good idea, but honestly, I'm not too worried. I don't have much removal that I'm gonna contend with. Okay. So I could put out the Mistbinder, or I could save the Trickster to tap down the Shrem. That might be the better play, and then go from there. So yeah, I like that better. Attack with both of these. There's no way they block. Get in for 4. Down to 14. And then they're probably going to load up old Dwarf Advisor here. Take another 2 damage. That's good news. So I am going to do this now. Because I want to remove the ability to draw cards. Can't avoid the first one. But now, old SRAM is just sitting there with Vigilance. Adonta Vanguard is pretty good. Vanguard. But, next turn I do have a Mistbinder. And I can hold up the dive down. Just in case things get real bad. But this is a huge attack. They're already pretty low on health. That being said, they might be able to give SRAM lifelink. Insights? Staggering Insight? Shouldn't have said anything. But they do have to attack with the SRAM. And they're only going to gain 4. Okay. Oh, Vigilance. So that with Sentinel Eyes is pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay. Well, not going to let that happen. Get to grow the Cutthroat and stop the Heliod's Punishment. And the Glasspool Mimic is very interesting because now I can put that on. So you may have Glasspool Mimic enter the battlefield as a copy. So it enters as. That means it gets ETBs. So I can tap down the SRAM and then I attack. They block here. And that looks like 8 damage to me. So cool. Cool, cool, cool. Get there. Man, Simic Merfolk. Ever since I lost that game a few days ago, I can't remember what deck I was playing, but I think it was the Simic Merfolk was the only deck that beat me on that day. And yeah, I've wanted to try this deck out. So what am I doing against this deck? I like the Brazen Borrower. I also, well, Spell Pierce. I'm not sure about Spell Pierce. Could be really good to stop a Staggering Insight, something like that. Yeah, it's probably good to bring it in. Test of Talents is a no-go. Negate, 2 CMC, I don't like it. So I think that's probably what I'm bringing in. And then I think I'm going to take out the dive downs. Well, the dive down is going to be good, but I think Heliod's Punishment is like the only interaction that they play in that deck. So yeah, the Spell Pierce is going to be fine. I think it's good to go down the dive downs. Try it out. Never know. Very new deck to me. Just threw it together. Wanted to restart the ladder with something kind of interesting. Going to do a bit of a tribal week this week. No 1-drop. That's a little disappointing, but okay. I guess the last game was a little bit tilting, so our opponent's just not having any of it. Next one? Sure. All right. So first game, not too interesting, but I think the first match was not that interesting. I think the game 1 was good enough to leave in the video, so gonna do that. I kind of wish the opponent didn't give up, so I could have played it out. All right, so we go from 1 land to half a land to 5 lands. That's the magic way. So I guess I'm kind of stuck keeping this one. Hey, got a turn 3 Kumena. You know what? That's not the worst thing to find. Alright, so island for the opponent. Sure. What deck plays Island and Fable Passage? They're checking out the Kumena speaker, wondering what's going on. Yeah, how often do you see this card, right? Brainstorm for the opponent. Their hand, I have card envy right now. Look at all these cards. I'm very jealous with my 3 cards here. Well, that's a pretty good one. I think I'm just playing to the board. Let's get in there. Attack for 2 and hope. Please give me an untapped 4th land. Oh, it's just going to be Phoenix, right? Okay. So an untapped 4th land here would be pretty bonkers. If I can flood the board out with a bunch of lords. All right. Yep, that's about right. Well, attack for 4, play out the River Sneak. And hey, you know, the River Sneak, again, it's not a terrible card. Next turn, if we do hit the 4th land, I'd probably go for the Collected Company. It'll pump up the River Sneak by quite a bit. And they're getting pretty low on life, so they haven't really done much but spin their wheels, which, you know, that's the Phoenix deck for you. Opponent's playing main board, Anger of the Gods. All right. Okay, so the game hates me and doesn't want to agree. I mean, what was we're on a mull to 5, right? We have such a chance here on a mull to 5 to do something really awesome, and come on, Arena, just agree with me for a second here. And I don't know what's up with this. Somebody tell our opponent that Merfolk was going to be played. Oh, they're on Teamer. Okay, well, interesting. So maybe it's not just straight up Phoenix. And they put it in untapped, so that's curious, right? Yep. Okay, well, I am going to put it in on the land side because copying the speaker is pretty useless, and getting these Collected Companies out back to back is going to be pretty big. I'm expecting like a Prismari Command here, which I guess was worth putting in the Stomping Ground Shocked. Sure. All right, well, here's where everything probably spirals way out of control for us. They're up to Torrential Gearhulk mana. Niv-Mizzet mana. Hey, back-to-back lands. And, of course, the tapped one came first. Of course. Yeah, I play this out now. Take 1 damage from this. They draw a card. Ugh, this game could not have gone worse for us, I think. Two cards that can be very easily snuffed out by Niv-Mizzet. That's fantastic. That's what you always want to see. I think I'm just going to push damage. So I can make Kumina unblockable by tapping 1 Merfolk. Yeah, that could have been a lot better if those were lords. I think I value the River Sneak a little bit more than I value the Silvergill Adept. So I think I'm going to... Although, casting the Dive Down is completely useless, because if I just cast this in response, Niv-Mizzet triggers, and it kills the River Sneak. It's such a bad spot to be in. Yeah. Wow. You know what? This is all because I got the free win in the last game, because the opponent just gave up in game 2. Arena is correcting itself, right? Like, this guy... No. We can't accept free wins. We gotta make sure nothing goes their way. Okay, collect a company. I'm quite certain they have a counterspell for it. And if they do, I'm just gonna scoop it up. They're targeting the Kumena, so I am gonna use a dive down while I can. Okay. Memory lapse. Good enough. Let's go to game 2. That was a miserable game 1, thanks to the magic gods. So, probably I like all 3 of these cards: Test of Talent, Negate, and Spell Pierce. And I like Mystical Dispute. I like a lot of cards here. Dive Down probably doesn't feel especially good in this matchup. The Cutthroat, well, maybe it's the River Sneak actually that I don't like more than the Cutthroat. These 1 toughness creatures, though, are going to be a problem in my deck because they're just going to be way too vulnerable. So bring in the Negates, bring in the Mystical Disputes, and probably the Spell Pierces, taking out the River Sneaks and the Dive Down. Do I want Test of Talents as well? Probably, right? Yeah. I think I put the Cutthroats back in. Yeah, we'll take them out. I know they are playing the board wipe, but I think the counter magic is probably going to be better than holding up Heroic Intervention. Probably does about the same. Great. Well, at least it's 2 lands. Unfortunately, I can't really play those. I can with this and the Pathway. What am I getting rid of? Something like that. Got to lead on this one so I can make sure to get the Trickster out on turn 2. That's not a terrible draw. I think I like putting this out more than I like putting out the Trickster. I'm going to reveal the Regery just because I think revealing a Trickster seems silly. Okay, well, a little bit awkward. Okay, I think I'm just going to hold up the Tricksters and the Spell Pierce. But definitely the mana is not cooperating at the moment. Okay, try it. They don't have double red yet. Something to consider. Why does this have to be a forest? Prismari Command, ruining my day. Okie doke. Well, that'll be awfully good against Niv-Mizzet. if it comes down to that. Okay, try the Trickster again. Shields down, unfortunately. But it lands. Just let it sit there. Come on, you don't have to kill it. Don't have to be that kind of person. Fried. Mega dead. Poor fish. Okay. Put that out. I think I put out the Regery. Tried to get in for 3. They got more stuff to ruin my day. Yeah, I have a feeling their deck is just like tuned to fight against this kind of deck. I mean, I don't know what to do. Just accept it, right? Just accept the loss. Here, go for Niv-Mizzet. No, they can't go for Niv. It's 6, right? Wait, that is 6. Go for it. Go for it. Can't be countered. I didn't know this was on this line. Ah, yeah. So I have my Regery and I can't tap down Niv-Mizzet. I am very much done with this one. Yeah, we're not beating old Niv-Mizzet when we were playing a deck full of X1s. Next one. Alright, time to try to bounce back. That last matchup was pretty miserable through and through. Did learn that Niv-Mizzet can't be countered, though. That is something that I wasn't totally aware of. This hand, a little bit awkward because of the Silvergill Adept. I think I'm going to actually not play out the Kumena Speaker just so I can put that out on turn 2. Okay, so Breeding Pool tapped, pass back to the opponent. Try to be friendly. If we're friendly to the opponent, they're not going to be playing a creature that just annihilates every single card in our deck. That is the rule of thumb. And look, the game is now giving me appropriate land draws, probably too many of them, because that's how it goes. Sure, Glasspool Mimic's okay. Alright, no play from the opponent on 1. And a strategic planning, so this is probably the Phoenix deck that I thought I was up against last time. Hey, that's a pretty good card. So, I could put out the Glasspool Mimic, copy the Silvergill, but I think it's probably better just to put out the Kumena Speaker, aim for a turn 4 Collected Company, and then use the Glasspool Mimic to hopefully copy the Lord that this Collected Company is so generously going to give me. I'm also holding up the Dive Down this time just in case they have some kind of way of dealing with one of my poor fish. You know, I just actually, literally today, I watched Pan's Labyrinth. I hadn't watched it since university. It's been a while. And this character kind of looks like the creepy hand monster in ways. I'm seeing it because I just saw the movie. But as soon as I clicked on this to make it larger, immediately my mind went, holy moly, that's the creepy hand monster dude. And while I was rambling on, the opponent managed to get 2 Phoenix into the graveyard. And yeah, that's fun. So let's see if they attack. Why not? Yeah. Would have been real nice to have the old flash Merfolk. You know what? I think I am going to do this now. I was thinking of not doing it. While these are off, like, just... Ugh. They're not the worst. I can put out the Kumena and probably the Silvergill just to get a redraw. But, yeah, that could have been a whole lot better. And another Kumena. Okay. Pretty much par for the course the way this video is shaping up, isn't it? At least I hit 2 creatures this time. I guess I should be thankful for that. Of course, the deck, it's going to give me my 2 CMC Lord next. So I can put that out and then immediately play the Glass Pool. Alright. So Kumina murdered, which is okay. I can put out another one. But down to a low life total. Alright. I guess I'm racing. Of course, I'm probably just dead to a Pillar of Flame or whatever 2 damage spell they have that also goes face. That's what I assume is going to happen here. But still hope that I can deal 6 damage here and then 6 damage next turn if I survive. Gotta stay hopeful in this situation. Okie doke. Up to you, walrus person. Can I use dive down on my face? Okay. Well, that is, that's the way it goes. Try a little bit different in game 2. So we do have the Relic of Progenitus. Hopefully that will slow their roll. Test of Talents might actually be pretty cool in this one, and I don't hate Spell Pierce. I think the River Sneaks are coming out. I think the Kumina Speakers are also coming out. Probably not going to do a whole lot in the course of this game. And I'm going to go down 1 dive down because I know they do have ways of hitting my creatures, but not a ton of them. But yeah, I don't think I need the full 4 of. All right, game 2. Hoping for a little bit of a better time. That one was close. It came down to like a turn. Okay. Yeah, we'll try this. Got the Merfolk Trickster. Dive down if we can find another land. I think I'll probably end up going out with the Silver Gill on turn 2. Opponent not taking any time with that Fabled Passage. Mountain. So no land, that's fine. Reveal the Mistbinder. And, well, there's the land, good. A little bit worried about an Anger of the Gods. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put out the Mistbinder just because I have the dive down backup. Okay, opt from the opponent, sure thing. One to the bottom, good sign. Good sign, good sign. Since there's a delay there, it makes me think they probably have a shock. And if they do have a shock, I think I probably... I'm going to... Okay, Lightning Axe. I'm going to save the Mistbinder, because if I... My read is telling me if they're trying to get rid of the Mistbinder here, they probably don't have an Anger of the Gods, because why would they waste the Lightning Axe just to save 3 damage? Okay, so that's fine. Okay, great. Perfect draw. I wonder if I go out with the Collected Company now. No. Could always just go out with 2 Tricksters next turn instead of the Collected Company. But I gotta imagine it's gonna be Coco time. I didn't play anything. That makes me nervous. Okay, Trickster. Changing the plan on the go. Maybe they have like another Lightning Axe, something like that. Okay, they had the Mystical Dispute. So, it was the correct read because they could have used that on the Collected Company. Get in for 4, and now I think it's Coco time again. still a little bit worried, like of an anger coming out of nowhere. So I don't want to get too hasty with the Collected Company. We'll see what they do on this turn. Like, very clearly holding up the Mystical Dispute, holding up all 3 lands for that. They were anticipating a Collected Company there. All right. So, 4 damage does get in, and pass it over to them. Brainstorm. Now is the opening for the Collected Company to avoid counter magic, but I don't know. Still don't feel good about it. Pillar of Flame. You know what? Now I feel like I want to collect a company. Because if I hit a Lord, I can protect that. Fantastic. Blanking their pillar. Now here comes a mountain. Board wipe. Oh, they had 2. Okay. Well, put out the old Mistbinder and get in. Bring them down to 3. Doing all I can here. Thankfully, they're stuck on. Man, this game just hates me. Man, oh man, that's. Ow. Yeah. Of course, that's going to be their top deck. That chives my butt a little bit. Whatever that means. And now I'm sitting here with 2 Glasspool Mimics in hand that I can't copy anything with. Oh, yeah. That is, yeah, I think I made somebody angry. And now they have the Arc-like Phoenix to discard there. And great follow-up with the Stormwing Entity. Okie doke. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could have done something different at some point during this game. But, I felt like I was playing carefully, I was playing smart, and still get punished for it. Well, full cost Faithless Looting, sure. Well, maybe I can get one of these Glasspool Mimics out onto the Silver Gill Adept. And draw another card. It's something, right? Okay. Well, that's not the worst. Especially with 4 lands open. I would love it if they did this Faithless Looting again. Pillar Flame. Sure. Wow, this attack. What does this mean? Does this mean they have a way of dealing with this Adept? They're down to 2 cards. It could be like removal, counterspell. I gotta go for it. I think there's... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Come on, game. Oh, who did I anger? Okay, Lord. Okay, still a chance for a Lord. Lord. Oh my goodness. Oh. Through thick and thin, getting the win there. That was excruciating. Holy moly. So I feel like they brought in a Braids, and a Braids plus Pillars. Is it worth it just to bring in the... Should I maybe have all 4 dive downs? No, I like Test of Talent a little bit better. No, I'm going to keep it the way it is. Goodness, at least it's turning into an interesting game, but never imagined I'd have to fight that hard to get a win. Well, I do have 3 lands, though, so maybe it's okay to keep this. Sucks if I find a collect a company. Well, that's great. Really great. I still think I'm going to put out one of the Glasspool Shores just to get us started, and then next turn I can hold up Test of Talents. It'd be really nice to be able to kill this Dorat, but I doubt that's going to be the case with the Merfolk Trickster. I think this thing's going to just run over me now. Oh, it's so awkward. Because I would like to... Do I want to hit this with the Test of Talents? Or I gotta wait until they play like some kind of burn spell. Because I think the burn spells are more damning to my game plan overall. But I have to put out a card to bait out the burn spell. And then waiting for 4 mana is kind of tricky. Gotta try. Maybe I should have put this out before combat and just tapped down the door. That would have been the play. I wasn't thinking for a second there. Okay. Also, I probably should have put out the Glasspool Mimic that turn on the land side. I'm gumming this up now. So now I gotta wait for a Test of Talents. Maybe blank something with the dive down. Yeah, this island should have definitely been a Glasspool Mimic. Another Dorat. It's a really good card against a deck that doesn't have any kind of interaction, I'll tell you that much. Okay. So they have 2 Arclight Phoenixes. That's a whole lot of damage coming my way this turn. 6. And then... Yeah, next turn's going to be 9. Basically dead. I don't think it would have helped to have done it the other way, but I knew I should have put out the Glasspool Mimic last turn. Okay, well... It was a hard-fought one. At least I think it's a pretty interesting game overall. I think this is just a difficult matchup, considering they're playing things like Pillar of Flame, Shock, Lightning Axe, Abrade. The list goes on and on and on with all these nasty cards that they're going to play. And of course, they found the Shock off the top. Good on you, opponent. You had somebody looking over you this game, that's for sure. Let's go to one more. Okay, last one with Merfolk, hoping to get a win here. So far, the last 2 games going up against Red has been a little sad. That's exactly what we don't want to see when we're playing this deck. I'm still not sure if this can... obviously, this deck is not a tier deck. It's not hyper competitive because it just doesn't have the access to the same. You look at elves and you look at the power that they have in their lords, and it's absolutely ludicrous compared to the offerings in Merfolk. You get the Reejerey and the 2 CMC Mistbinder Lord, and they're fine. They're definitely not bad cards, but they're nowhere near the level of power that the Merfolk Lords have. Like the Allosaurus Shepherd is just an absurd card all by itself. Thankfully, the opponent has helped us. They've done 4 damage to themselves. And I think they missed a land drop there. I was too busy soapboxing. But yeah, I mean, some of the pieces for Merfolk are obviously present, and I think given time, maybe the deck could turn into something with just like 1 or 2 cool cards. They find a Steam Vents and they put it in untapped. Okay. Let's put out a Reejerey. We have the Dive Down as backup. Okay, try to get in for 6 here. Maybe I should have held up the Trickster instead of putting out the Reejerey this turn, put the Trickster out, and then next turn Reejerey to win, but... So they get their treasure. Hopefully 5 mana isn't their sweet spot and they can do crazy things with that. Brainstorm. That's a good sign for me, I think. That means desperation. And even if they take out the Reejerey here, still get it. Cool. So the one thing about the Merfolk deck is it is fast, and if you can take advantage of some of your opponent's missteps, then I sneak a win. Let's bring in Spell Pierce. Test of Talents? And I don't know if I want to go full to the negate as well. Get rid of the River Sneaks. Cut a couple of speakers. Maybe I do want the negates. Cutting a lot of cards from the deck though, and I definitely need these cards to be able to do damage. Maybe go all the speakers. The dive down feels important in this matchup. I feel like they're just going to have a ton of spot removal. Okay. Try it. Well, it's a good start at least. If I can... I really want to win. I want to show that this deck can actually do something. This hand, a little bit awkward. I do have the turn 2 Silver Gill. It helps me draw. I am on the draw. Super risky though, isn't it? I'm gonna keep it. Okay. Just I don't like mulliganing against decks that are definitely running Thoughtseize and Inquisitions. And 2 lands and we're, you know, off to the races. Still need 2 lands. Okay. So, definitely putting this out. Reveal the Merfolk Trickster. Hopefully they don't have a memory lapse. That would be annoying. I don't really want to draw the Adept next turn, but here we are. This is the world we live in. Okay, they missed their land drop though, so same play. This deck all about taking advantage of your opponent's issues. You know, if they miss another land drop and we do hit a land drop, oh boy. Okay, sure. It wasn't a land drop. I think that's a little bit of an aggressive play, the Baleful Mastery on that. Oh, come on. Alright, well, I guess I have to put this out just because I'm at 7 cards and I don't really want to discard any of these. So put out the Merfolk Trickster. A little annoying that I have to do that, and I can hold up the Spell Pierce. Hopefully get something out of that. Kolaghan's Command. I was thinking I'm not going to save the Merfolk Trickster, but since it's going to make me discard a card, I think it's fine to counter that one. Nikki B. Nikki B. Let's... Oh man, they're all good. I think I'm going to get rid of one. Maybe it's Kumena. Ah, come on, deck. Give me a land. Okay, pass. Can flash in either the Cutthroat or the Trickster. Okay. At least they're taking 2 damage from this. I assume they take the company, because if I just hit a land... If they don't take the company, then maybe that represents that they have a counter spell. They took the negate, though. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I can kill the Narset. And they miss. Well, I'm going to put out the Trickster now, tap down the Bolus. I don't want to take any damage. Hey, look at me. I found my land. It just happens to be the one of... Like I'm playing full 4 of Glasspool, so there are 3 more tap lands in my deck. Of course. Alright, Brineborn is the plan, and then go from there. This deck makes me a little salty, which I guess is appropriate because I'm assuming Merfolk are saltwater fish, right? There's a little extra sodium packed into this deck, I like to believe. But yeah, it gets my blood boiling a little bit. They're down to 2 cards, so those have to be some banging cards. I will go out with the Cutthroat. Maybe I would love to draw out a spell here, but of course they know I have the Collected Company, so... Okay. So does that mean... No. Yeah, I guess next turn is going to be Collected Company. And now that I have the backup Coco... Well, again... Not the absolute worst case, because at least I get to do that. But goodness gracious, maybe I gotta reevaluate how many. Gotta reevaluate how many creatures are in this deck, maybe. Oh, do you think they're gonna draw a counterspell? They have 1 card left in hand. How impactful could that one spell be? Okay. It's fine. Like, it's fine. It's probably fine. I'm not upset or anything. Just these last 3 games have been like Arena punching me in the stomach saying, hey, you, we're not going to let you get any kind of advantage in this game. So is that all 4 of my Tricksters or just... No, 3 of them. Okay. It's something. Okay, put out the Regery, attack for 3, and then hope that they leave the Nicol Bolas back as a blocker, then and not have any removal for the Regery. Fingers crossed, which is silly to say because their deck is a deck entirely made up of removal spells that line up incredibly well against Merfolk. But the plan was to put up the Mistbinder and tap down the Nicol Bolas, if you're wondering. Of course. I have to take a long nap after this game.
The whole of the multiverse will bend to my will. I outsmarted you eons ago.
I'm worried. Bone Crusher. Wow. Blank the old Bone Crusher. Do I go after Bolas or do I go face? Man, this Bolas is brutal. I'm not going to get it off the field. Like, I don't know what I do here. I just lose, right? Yeah.
A feeble effort.
So what do I do next turn? Do I run the Trickster and Mistbinder into it and still not kill it?
Witness a mote of my power.
They must have some removal then. Or they just realize that... I mean, even if I kill the Nicol Bolas this turn, they have me on this crackback. Holy moly. Well, I'm going to try to kill the Nicol Bolas just out of pure principle. Even if it costs me the game, I don't care. I want Nicol Bolas dead. Fiery draws. Hot. Hot, 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 hot. Unbelievable. Okay. At least we get a game 3. This is not over yet. Game 3. I have nothing to deal with Nicol Bolas outside of Brazen Borer. I got Mystical Dispute. Maybe that should have been in the deck right from the get-go. Because I'm pretty sure he can be countered. Yeah, I'm not going to make that mistake again. But again, I have so many cards trying to fight against their strategy that I'm cutting out too much of the power of the deck. Okay. Hopefully it works out. That felt like a long game too. I feel like they were stumbling real hard at the start and just the... For real? Okay. Gotta get lucky. These 4 games might actually go down as some of the worst luck I've had playing Arena in recent memory. Like, the hands have been just real garbage. A lot of them have been real garbage, and the running into 3 red, heavy removal red-oriented decks in a row has been a little bit disheartening playing this deck. Okay, at least the Silvergill is getting on the field and surviving for at least a little while. But that Brainstorm is going to help them out a lot, I'm sure. Lands have not cooperated whatsoever with this deck. Yeah, that's great. We do have 24 lands in the deck, keep in mind. So I didn't skimp on the lands, playing 20 regular and then 4 Glasspool Mimics. So you would hope. I'm gonna leave it like that. Here's gonna come 4 collected companies in a row. So I could hit the Narset here. But I'm kind of feeling like this Mystical Dispute is going to be more important for Nicol Bolas, because I think Nicol Bolas is actually a bigger problem for me overall. And I can hit... I can kill the Narset next turn if I want to. I could also just... Didn't I say that? Here's going to come 4 collected companies in a row. There's number 1. Do I just get her off the field? I think so. And then I play...
I won't forget our time together.
This is playing so hard into a board wipe. I know it's going to happen, but I feel like I need that. I need that bad draw. Can't do anything about it. They take the Mystical Dispute. At least it hurts them. They take the Coco, the uncastable collected company. Okie doke. Tap Blood Crypt. Sure. Hey, look who showed up right on time. So I could use or put out the Mistbinder, but I think it's probably better just to attack for 3, or with 3 for 6, take them down to 6, and then hold up the Mystical Dispute. And I also have a Merfolk Trickster to flash in. So maybe they're going to brainstorm here. Hopefully the top of their deck doesn't have what they need. Magic gods, I need a win here. I need to restore my faith in this platform and in this format. Help me out, please. The anticipation's killing me. Oh, it's a Blood Crypt. Okay. Second main. Come on. Okay. So what disaster could happen here if I put out the Merfolk Trickster? They maybe have 2 removal spells, and then I'm still holding up Mystical Dispute for a white card. Now I'm not holding it up for a non-white card, but maybe they go Bone Crusher, then I can put out the Mistbinder, but they know I have the Mistbinder. They might just be in a tight spot. Okay, there's the Bone Crusher, as expected. 2 mana left, and they have to kill 3 creatures, and I have a Lord. It could be like Fatal Push plus Shock, but now that I found the land, I have Mystical Dispute for either one of those cards. Good game. Crazy. Much love. At least we can end on a win. Alright. Wrap up. Alright, so Simic Merfolk, pretty fun little deck. I was getting a little tilted there near the end because things were definitely working against me in ways. But I think a lot of that kind of comes down to like the power of the deck being just a little bit lower than what I would want it to be at. We do have some great cards in the deck. Obviously, Mistbinder and Regery are 2 fantastic cards, and we also have the Honorary Lord. However, there was a spot where I had 2 Glasspool Mimics in hand, no creatures on board, and you can see, obviously, the weakness of the Glasspool Mimic. But, again, there are other great cards. Silvergale Adept is a fantastic card, Merfolk Trickster is a great card, and Kumena, super powerful. A couple times it came up, and it did well. That being said, the 1-drops are sorely lacking. There is another 1-drop, Benthic something, if I can spell Merfolk correctly. Benthic Biomancer, not a bad card to put in, but it is a rare card, and I don't think it's really worth it, so I kind of thought, I'm not going to bother putting it into the deck. I also kind of thought about Merfolk Wind Robber, still a consideration. It having flying is quite wonderful, and if you can get out there with a couple of Lords, well, it can really do a lot of work. But overall, there are not a ton of great 1 CMC Merfolks. Mistcaller, so hopefully with the reprinting of maybe some future anthologies, more Merfolk will be injected into the format and we'll have more toys to play with. Right now, I think the deck is kind of cool. It's also relatively cheap outside of Glasspool Mimic, which you don't have to be playing Glasspool Mimic as it is a rare card. And the rare lands, really the only required rare I would say is Collected Company. The rest of the deck is going to be uncommons, and I would even say you don't really need mana if you don't want to put 2 mythics into it. There are other cards that you could fill the deck with. I would say you do need Collected Company though, because it does really work very well in the deck. Anyways, that is the Merfolk deck. Let me know what you think about it. Have you tried it out before? And are there some other ways to build the deck? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. See you in the next one. Take care for now.